Hi, welcome back to HATV. This is Paul Malkmus.
And I'm Ann Malkmus.
And we're excited to be back with you at another episode of HATV. And you know, we keep getting all these different questions, and it's really neat to be able to come in and try to provide some guidance on this.
Yes, it is.
And the one question that we're going to deal with first today is one that's so common. And how do we get enough calories, or how do we know if we're getting enough calories? And how much calories or protein should somebody get on the diet? Well, those are tough. That's a tough one.
Yeah, this person actually emailed us and said she's losing about a half a pound a week. It doesn't sound like she's disappointed in that right now, but she has a grave concern because she's read that women in particular should have 1,200 calories and no less per day as they consume their foods. And her biggest fear is that she's going to end up putting her body in the starvation mode. And that's what she said.
Yeah, and you're right. We want to make sure that we're consuming enough calories, and 1,200 calories would be on the bottom side
Quite
of it.
minimal.
And there was several years ago where we did have somebody that had a diet of about 1,000 calories a day, and they didn't have enough.
I believe that.
And they ran into some physical problems. So it's real important that we don't go on a starvation diet, that we continue to eat, and we continue to eat large amounts of vegetables and nuts and seeds and fruits. The healthy things that really support our body.
But the interesting thing is, we don't count calories. Why is that?
Well, we find that when we eat large salads and we have a good variety in that, so let's just take and I don't want to say typical salad, but that has large amount of lettuce. I mean, we should consume about a pound or more of greens every day at least.
So instead of using a small salad plate, you use a dinner plate.
A large plate, that's right. And we put all sorts of different vegetables on it. So, we can try different types of greens as well, with kale and Swiss chard and collards and all of those things to add some variety to it. But then when we start adding some of the things like cucumbers and broccoli and cauliflower, tomatoes, just putting a lot in there. It's not small salads, it's large salads.
But none of those are high in calories.
And that's where we bring in some of the cooked food. So we have some of the cooked food that has some of that, and as well as some of the nuts, which are going to have some fats and calories to it. So.
And so those avocados, those nuts, those seeds, those are the more high caloric types of foods. And for those who feel very concerned that they might be losing too much weight, you can add that part of that avocado to your salad, or sprinkle your salad with some sunflower seeds or almonds, which again, they have high calorie because they have high fat. For some people, that's okay.
So we do want to make sure that we're getting enough and not cutting down our portion sizes and limiting the amount of food that we're intaking.
Some people would prefer to use oil and vinegar-based dressings because they don't prefer to have the extra calories from the different types of dressings. However, if you wanted to be creative and you would like a few more calories into your diet, then create a mayonnaise, vegetables-based salad dressing, and then you just increased your caloric number.
So we want to make sure we get enough. Now the protein topic comes up a lot. And how do we know if we're getting enough protein? And then the flippant answer, which is kind of funny sometimes, is where does the cow get its protein from? And when it's out there eating the grass and the elephant or the hippopotamus or all these non-meat eating animals, where do they get their protein from? And you take a cow, for instance, we say that animal meat has a lot of protein in it, but it got that protein from the grasses. And so we just go straight to the source and get the protein from the grass itself, or the vegetables. And,
we typically, a normal, adult, healthy, living body, we believe 20 grams of protein or a little bit less is probably enough for a normal person who doesn't have a high athletic prowess or doesn't have a large amount of exercising in them.
But somebody who's exercising more, or as you said, an athlete, or even a young child, not young child, but a child who's quite athletic should get a little more protein. And it's important if you're real active to get that protein immediately after your meal. So immediately after your exercise.
Now, sources of protein, because most people believe protein comes from the animal meat and from the milk or from those types of things. There are numerous different types of sources of protein that are much more assimilatable, much more digestible, easier for our body to be able to use, and those would include
We'd have hemp seed protein. We might use some rice protein,
Chia seeds.
chia seeds, and they all have good amount of protein in them. And so those, if we were going to use a protein powder type thing, that would be the type of proteins that we would use.
Otherwise, beans have a large amount of protein. Certain nuts have additional proteins. And please don't forget some of those leafy greens, such as the kale and the collard and the broccoli and the Swiss chard. Still, all of them have protein in them as well.
Now, we would try to avoid animal protein, and even like whey protein. You see them in power shakes and so forth. We would stay away from that type of protein.
As well, soy protein for numerous reasons.
Yeah. So we would get our protein from a vegetable source, which excludes soy. So hopefully that's some good information for you on the whole protein issue, and we've provided you some guidance. It's important that we do get enough nutrients, both in calories and vitamins and minerals, and protein as well. But you don't see too many people being diagnosed with a deficiency of protein.
Hardly any.
Yeah. Our other question today has to deal with...
Okay, so from our home, we can eat anything we want and we feel comfortable and very secure in our food choices. But what happens when we leave our home and we are in the church and we go to the potluck, or we go to some friend's home, or we go to the office picnic or office party? Now what do we do about our diet choice?
Yeah, we still want to stay connected with the people that we love and we enjoy having fellowship with, but we don't want to have to feel like we're always compromising our lifestyle and our health just to go have fellowship with them. And so we do want to take some special steps, I guess, as we start approaching those functions out and about.
Several things that you can do to prepare yourself for these opportunities is, one is eat a little bit before you leave the house. Or if you're at the office and you're staying for the evening party, bring enough food to make it through the evening. And so you're nibbling on food that you know is good for you, that fills up your tummy a little more, so that when you go in front of that big, huge spread, you're probably more prone to feeling, okay, I'm in control here. This is okay. Another thing you can do is bring food for you to share with other people. And again, this could be some real fun food. Remember, they love your food. They don't know it yet till they try it. Bring enough to share, but make sure you have some to eat.
What a lot of people say is when they bring a dish to share, that they have to get some of it first, because otherwise other people will take it all, because it's typically so much better than the standard American diet.
Happens every time. So, and then you are at a function. It's typically one of those office parties or a potluck activity. Take a look around at that wonderful spread, and I know you'll find something in there that probably may not be perfect, but it won't be bad for you. Don't be afraid to put it on your plate, and don't be afraid to eat it. It's not going to kill you. This is a rare occasion. This is something that you can enjoy and fellowship with people and experience them, and don't feel like, my goodness, I can't put anything on my plate.
You know, there was a reception at that business meeting I was in yesterday, and they had crab cakes, and they had chicken quesadillas, and they also had skewers. And on the skewers were olives, cheese, and tomato.
There you go.
And so I took and I pulled the stuff off the skewers, and I ate the tomatoes and the olives, and I left the cheese. And so I was able to partake with everybody else. I just didn't compromise my principles in the process.
You can. People do bring various different types of foods. Not everybody brings chicken. And so in order for you to be able to enjoy this experience, take a look at all those different components, and you'll be happy that you can participate in it that way as well.
So support yourself, get plenty of nutrients, get good protein through a vegetable source, and then enjoy yourself when you go out with family and friends, go to the office party or church potlucks or whatever that is. But live healthy, and we'll see you next time on HATV.